There are moments in life when being alone feels like the hardest thing in the world. It's as though the people you once leaned on are suddenly distant, and the plans you made seem to unravel without explanation. But what if I told you that this season of loneliness isn't meant to harm you, but to help you? What if being alone is exactly where God wants you to be? Because it's in these moments He's preparing you for something greater. You see, separation isn't rejection, it's preparation. God uses these seasons of stillness to work on us in ways that wouldn't be possible in the noise of everyday life. When everything is going well, when we're surrounded by people and life feels full, it's easy to overlook the quiet whispers of God's guidance. But when we're alone, those whispers become clearer and His presence becomes undeniable. Think about it. When God called Moses, it wasn't in the hustle and bustle of a crowd. It was in the quiet of the desert, far away from the distractions of his old life. Moses had to spend years in that solitude before he was ready to lead his people out of Egypt. That time wasn't wasted. It was the season where God equipped him with the strength, humility, and wisdom he would need for the journey ahead. The same principle applies to us. Sometimes God removes the noise, the relationships, and even the opportunities that we think we need because He's doing a deeper work in us. It's easy to feel forgotten when we're alone. But the truth is, God is never closer than in these moments. He's pruning away the things that no longer serve us and planting seeds for a future we can't yet see. When you're alone, He's not only refining your character, but also building the resilience and faith you'll need for what's coming next. This process may not feel good at the moment, but it's necessary. A tree doesn't grow deep roots in a storm, it grows them in stillness, where it can anchor itself firmly into the ground. Being alone also gives you the opportunity to rediscover your identity, not who the world says you are, but who God created you to be. When you're constantly surrounded by people or caught up in the busyness of life, it's easy to get lost in others' expectations and opinions. But in the quiet, God reminds you that you are chosen, loved, and equipped. He reveals the gifts and strengths you didn't even know you had. Think about the times in your life when you felt like you couldn't take one more step, yet somehow you did. That strength didn't come from outside sources, it came from within, from the part of you that God was shaping in the hidden places. When you're alone, you're not being punished, you're being positioned for growth, for clarity, and for the blessings that are on their way. And let's not forget that even Jesus embraced solitude. Before He began His ministry, He spent 40 days alone in the wilderness. That time wasn't wasted, it was a period of preparation. Jesus emerged from that season ready to fulfill His purpose with unwavering focus and strength. If the Son of God Himself needed solitude to prepare for His calling, how much more do we? So if you find yourself in a season where it feels like everyone and everything has been stripped away, don't lose heart. God hasn't forgotten you. He's preparing you. He's teaching you to rely on Him fully, to trust His timing, and to find peace in His presence. It's in these moments of separation that God does His deepest work. When the time is right, you'll look back on this season and realize that it wasn't a period of loss, but of gain. You'll see how God was aligning things behind the scenes, shaping you into the person you needed to become for the next chapter of your life. So don't rush the process. Embrace it, trust it, and know that you are never truly alone. It's easy to feel abandoned when we're alone, isn't it? The silence can feel heavy, and the absence of others can leave us questioning our worth or wondering what went wrong. But what if this loneliness isn't a punishment? What if it's an invitation? An invitation to draw closer to the one who has never left your side, the one who has been waiting for you to seek Him in the quiet. Sometimes God allows us to be alone so that we can experience His presence in a way we never could when surrounded by the noise of the world. When people step back and life feels empty, God steps in to remind us that He is our constant. In moments of solitude, we discover that the love we've been searching for from others has been available all along through Him. He wants us to know that His love isn't conditional or fleeting. It doesn't depend on whether we've had a good day, made the right choices, or met the expectations of others. His love is steady, unchanging, and exactly what our hearts need, especially in the moments when we feel most alone. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to hear someone whisper in a crowded room? But when you're alone in a quiet space, even the softest words become clear. That's what this season of solitude is. It's God's way of clearing out the distractions so you can hear His voice. He's not yelling or demanding your attention. Instead, He's whispering to your heart, calling you to trust Him, to lean on Him, to see that His presence is more than enough. When we're constantly surrounded by people, it's easy to depend on them for our joy, our validation, and even our sense of purpose. But people, no matter how much they love us, are human. They can't feel the deepest parts of our souls. They were never meant to. Only God can do that. And sometimes He allows us to feel the ache of loneliness so that we'll turn to Him and discover that He's been there all along, waiting to fill the void we've been trying to fill in other ways. This time alone is a chance to build intimacy with God, to talk to Him about the things you've been holding back, to cry out to Him in the moments of pain, and to sit quietly in His presence when words fail. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to bring Him a perfect version of yourself. He wants you exactly as you are, with all your questions, doubts, and fears. In fact, it's in your raw honesty that His love shines the brightest. He meets you where you are and walks with you through every step. The beauty of this relationship with God is that it isn't dependent on circumstances. Friends may come and go. Life may change in ways you never expected. But God's love remains. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. When you realize this, loneliness begins to lose its power. Because even in the quietest, most isolated moments, you are never truly alone. His presence is with you, comforting, guiding, and reminding you of your worth. This season is also an opportunity to grow your faith, to believe that even though you can't see the full picture, God is working all things together for your good. It's easy to trust Him when everything is going well, but real faith is built in the waiting, in the uncertainty, and yes, even in the loneliness. This is where you learn to rely on Him completely, to surrender your plans and trust that His plans are better. Sometimes we avoid being alone because it forces us to confront the things we've been ignoring, the wounds we've been carrying, the fears we've been hiding, the doubts we've been pushing aside. But God wants to heal those places, and healing begins with being honest about where we are. When you allow Him into those broken places, He doesn't just mend them, He makes them stronger, more beautiful, and more aligned with His purpose for your life. So don't resist this season, embrace it. Use this time to draw closer to God, to lean into His promises, and to let His love fill every empty space. When the world around you feels uncertain, let His presence be your anchor. When people seem distant, let His voice remind you that you are loved, chosen, and never alone. This time isn't wasted, it's sacred. It's a reminder that while relationships with others are a gift, the relationship with God is the foundation on which everything else is built. And as you grow closer to Him, you'll find that He is not only enough, but more than enough. He is your source, your strength, and your constant in every season. And when this season of solitude ends, you'll step into the next chapter with a deeper faith, a stronger sense of who you are in Him, and a heart that knows it is fully loved. Remember, God doesn't just want to be part of your life, He wants to be the center of it. And this time alone is His way of showing you that He's all you'll ever need. In the hustle and noise of daily life, it's so easy to lose sight of what truly matters. The constant demands, the voices of others, the pressure to keep up, it all blends into a chaotic whirlwind. But there are times when God intentionally calls us to a season of solitude, not to harm us, but to help us see clearly. It's in these quiet moments that clarity begins to emerge, and we can finally hear His gentle guidance. You see, God is not the author of confusion. He doesn't want us running in circles, feeling overwhelmed and unsure of our direction. But sometimes we get so caught up in the opinions of others, the endless to-do lists, and even our own plans that we drown out His voice. And when that happens, He lovingly steps in and allows a season of stillness to refocus us. When we are alone, away from distractions, we can begin to see things as they truly are, not through the lens of fear or societal expectations, but through the eyes of faith. Being alone can feel unsettling at first. We're so used to filling our time seeking advice and looking outward for answers